You don't need a fancy superhero suit to save the world. Sometimes ordinary people are brave enough to step out of their everyday routine and do a deed that any Marvel character would be proud of. These civilian superheroes acted on instinct and saved the day, and we're here to put them in the spotlight where they deserve to be. Ready to meet them? Let's get it on! Most people wouldn't be willing to take on a gang of jewel thieves armed with sledgehammers, and who can blame them? They're scary! So this gang who turned up to try and smash and grab on a jewelry store in England would never have suspected that a 71-year-old woman would be their downfall. You can spot her the same way as most classic superheroes, by her bright red costume. Despite the arthritis in her legs, she runs straight up to them and starts hitting them with her handbag. Apparently they threatened her with their sledgehammers, but she kept going, saving the store and getting most of them arrested. Video games and superheroes go hand in hand, so seeing someone save the day while dressed as a real-life PUBG character is just too cool. Jeffrey Dweller was on his way to his friend's Halloween party in full costume, frying pan included, to really complete the look. That's when he heard a man screaming. The man was trying his best to stop a thief from stealing his bicycle, but he had no luck, and the thief had taken off on the bike before he could do anything. Luckily, brave Jeffrey didn't hesitate and he stepped up, frying pan swinging, saving the bike and the day. Batman made stopping guys with a fancy car popular decades ago, but as it turns out, you don't need a car as complicated as the Batmobile to stop bad guys. This BMW dangerously weaving through traffic has been stolen, and the driver is trying his best to escape from police. He's eventually forced to take off on foot, thinking he can escape on a longboard, even though it's clearly slowing him down. Maybe he should have practiced before the high-speed pursuit. He might have got away if Lou Pizarro from Operation Repo hadn't put a stop to it with his red truck. No, seriously, he's a hero. Superheroes have all kinds of alter egos specifically designed to make them look like mild-mannered people who aren't brave at all. I don't know what this man's superhero name is, but his alter ego is known as Grandpa Bill. He walks with a cane and, the day this was filmed, he was taking his granddaughter to the library. He didn't have time to change into his superhero costume before a criminal came racing towards him, pursued by police who were trying to disarm him. Grandpa Bill had to act fast or miss the opportunity to stop a dangerous man in his tracks, so he did just that.
Nice.
Most of us have seen enough movies to know the drill when it comes to a bank robbery. You get down on the floor, put your hands on the back of your head, and whimper a bit. But this unidentified bank manager doesn't play by the rules. He's not about to let some guy rob his bank. He reacted in just a split second and held the door shut to keep this robber out of the bank and away from staff. He didn't even stop when the thief started banging on the glass with his gun. The thief eventually fled, so this hero did save everyone in the bank. You don't need superpowers to stop criminals. Sometimes all you need is a different kind of power, the power of observation. James Rowley found himself in the middle of an armed bank robbery in London one day. It's a situation we all dread, but he was calm under pressure, and that helped him realize something important: the gun the robber was holding was a fake. Once he'd noticed that, he could do something about it, so he grabbed the fire extinguisher as a weapon and chased after the criminal. He caught him and held him until the police took over. Some people don't care that stealing is wrong and need a different reason to never try it. How about this? You should never steal in general, but especially because you don't know when you've messed with the wrong person. The guy on the bike asked this woman when her classes are, so he has the opportunity to steal her phone. Unfortunately for him, the classes she teaches are martial arts training sessions. She's super fast and has her phone back and an arm around his neck before he even knows what's happened. Then backup arrives, although she didn't need it. That thief was terrified. Some people will do anything to make sure justice is served. This 72-year-old great-grandmother, Mary Parker, had read about the theft of a designer mountain bike worth over $1,600 in her hometown in England while scrolling through Facebook. So when the thief showed up at her shop later that day trying to sell her the stolen bike that rightfully belonged to a child, she wasn't gonna let him get away with it, literally. She took the bike away, but half an hour later, he showed up again and tried to take it back when this struggle started. Mary won in the end. The man ran away, probably very embarrassed, and the boy got his bike back. It's always so satisfying to see the bad guy get a taste of his own medicine, and that's exactly what this heroic woman has given us. She didn't know she was walking into an armed robbery when she came back to her cash register. The man demanded she give him the money she had behind the counter, so she complied, but you can tell that she's brave. Then she got a golden opportunity. He put his gun down. She plucked up the courage and grabbed it, and he ran. He took a chance on getting it back, but she was angry by then, and he sprinted out of there terrified, just as he should be. Let's face it, you won't find better examples of everyday heroes than those honest and dedicated police officers who do their best to protect and serve. They're always ready to jump into action and help, even when they're in the middle of a press conference like Detective Senior Sergeant Darren Edwards was here. He jumped into action and tackled this suspect as soon as he heard the commotion behind him. His team helped apprehend the man who was running away from the father of a teenage girl he'd allegedly been harassing. It's a good thing the TV crew were on hand to capture it all.
Target neutralized.
Sometimes you're just in the right place at the right time, or the wrong place at the wrong time if you're this thief. The masked man here marched up to the counter of this almost empty fried chicken restaurant and flashed his weapon at the clerks before demanding that they give him all the money in the cash register. Little did he know, the only people in the restaurant, the people who look like an ordinary couple, are actually cops. Officer Nicole McKeown and Detective Chase McKeown didn't hesitate. They grabbed their gun and chased the suspect, apprehending him just 1 block away. Now that's justice. When you were a kid, the best way to win an argument was to ignore the person who disagreed with you. It took willpower, but if you could do it, you were unbeatable. Most people would never think that this applies to robbers too, but Saeed Ahmed is not most people. He can hold his nerve way better than the rest of us. When this thief came into his takeout shop threatening him with a weapon, he just completely ignored him and carried on serving the customer sitting in the shop, who seemed so baffled by his reaction that he just goes with it. Eventually, the armed robber just gives up and leaves, and only then did Saeed call the police. What an amazing tactic!
Mission failed. We'll get 'em next time.
Anyone who owns a small business will know how upsetting it is to be burgled. It had happened to the owner of this store multiple times, and he wasn't going to let the next person get away with it. So he set a simple and very clever burglar trap, and this guy fell straight into it. He got into the shop just fine, but he quickly discovered there's no way out. Sure, he panicked a bit, broke a few tools trying to break the locks, tried kicking down the doors, but with no luck, he just had to sit there and wait for the police to pick him up. Thieves love jewelry stores because of all the valuables on display, but they forget that jewelry stores have a lot of security measures in place for exactly that reason. This robber learned that the hard way. He thinks he has a brilliant plan to steal this gold necklace. He'll pretend he's trying it on, then make a run for it. It's foolproof, except for the security door. The shopkeeper seems to be very amused by the situation, as he should be, and the thief just has to wait there feeling sorry for himself until the police show up. Sometimes you don't need to do anything. If the criminal you've come face to face with is stupid enough, he might stop himself before you need to get involved. This guy had his robbery all planned out and his gun hidden in his pants pocket. The woman behind the counter wouldn't know what hit her, except that maybe it wasn't the best choice of pants. After fumbling and dropping his gun behind the counter like a character from a comedy film, he opted for the old-fashioned run-for-it approach. His pants were not on his side though, just to add to the embarrassment.